Welcome everyone to Paper Strike. It's time for some more Raid Shadow Legends. I am here to show you the brutal truth about finding the rat. Now, we can claim this reward, right? That doesn't solve the entirety of the issue, because here's the deal, right? We still got, we got this tag tournament, which is useful. We got classic arena takedowns, where I have to do all of that. I can't all do this for both accounts. I have to choose this account and the other account. I'm probably going to choose this account. For the, because it's so many ice golems. First, I'm gonna straight up just show the ice golem team. How long? So events. Yeah, this is where the other stuff is hidden, right? So we got Dungeon Divers events. I only have 10 hours to make it all the way to here, and I need to get every single one of these rares, because you have to fuse all of these, which means you need a whole lot of these. On top of that, we need artifact enhancement event. So that's a pain, isn't it? Let's start with a 16 upgrade for these pieces. Let's see. All right, we got some energy fuel for that. We're going to want to do some more clan quests as well. Do that. I'm sorry if it's going to impact my silver. It just is. We're going to have to do a cleanse. Obviously, this guy's going to need help. We're going to have to do a gear cleanse again. Level 5 artifacts need to get out of here, unfortunately. Because, we are going to suffer pretty badly. Okay, I know this is going to sound bad, but I want to discard more of the non-speed boots. Because here's the issue. The higher stats content, right? It requires high stats gear. And it requires percentage gear on top of that. So if you don't have gear that's within specific parameters, right? If you're too slow or your stats aren't good, you're not going to win. Because that's the brutal truth about artifacts. I can only take the best artifacts. Because we got to be more discriminatory with our artifacts right now. Because if we don't, we are going to run into some very serious issues down the line. So that's ultimately why I can't really afford to keep 5-star artifacts for the most part, because it's getting to the point where the game is going to punish me for keeping these artifacts. That is my ultimate issue here. Right. So that's the bitter part about all this, right? As we clean up quests, is yes, I still have to clean up quests. So yeah, I have choices to make here, but they're not easy ones. Now, I can try to get more, but then I'd sacrifice this account getting it. And of all the accounts that need a good bomb champ, this is probably it. Because it's my leader account. So that's why this account has more to it that we need. Let's knock out some arena if we can. And of course everything's really powerful. Let's just attempt one of these. I'm sorry. I know it's terrible, but I've got to attempt it. Because guess what? Every day I have to try to do tag. That's the bitter truth of it. I mean, I have to try to hurt the damage dealer. This guy will be last as usual. Yep, that's Venomage damage for you. Ever wonder why I freaked out about getting that character? That's why. But she's much more powerful in PvE than Arena. She's okay in Arena, but her real glory is in the regular content. So that's... This is hard. He's like... Oh my god. His fear is just... This is actually really obnoxious, because he's well built. That's the issue. He's well built, so, well, not enough to stop the decreased defense, but just enough to be severely annoying. Most of this looks really aggravating, so I'm just going to avoid it. We are going to have to dig deep into our pockets here and get very down and gritty with the gear. It sounds harsh, but the only way I'm going to keep enough silver in the bank to do things like this. Only a real way of doing it. Because because you keep these lower pieces, right? For the most part, you get owned. That's the thing. You get owned by keeping these pieces. That's the issue. I can't afford it. Here's the thing. It's better for me to build bad champions than to build them with bad gear. That is the ultimate truth that a lot of whales and a lot of other people do not want to face the facts. Right? Because we're gonna want to keep grinding towards that point. Trying to think what we're gonna do for high value artifacts. And clan quests, because guess what? That's gonna be an issue. I'm mainly doing the tag arena thing, right? To just give me more resources to work with on this account. Now I can show you my 2 ice golem teams, but my other one is not, my account is not on schedule. So I'm just going to have to try to do it with this one and pray I can do it. Because I have a lot of things on my plate, unfortunately, and it just... I just don't have time for the fusions, unfortunately. It's a problem. So, and if I do have time, it's not enough for 2 versions of this guy. I can only get 1. So, in that vein, right? I'll show you 2 ice golem teams. Now let's just run them on auto like I have been, right? So this is my first ice golem auto team. But in the end, I can only really fuse one rat. Because there's so much going on that I can't, I have to choose one account to get it. Because you have to run a lot of Ice Golem in order to get this rat. And you have to run a lot of Fire Knight and a lot of other stuff. I can only really do that with one account. So I'm going to choose my first account as the recipient of this Ratman. Because this fusion is seriously hard. So, and since I didn't devote that much time on the Ice Golem on this account, it's gonna miss out. It's very hard to get enough. And this is one of those temporary fusions where, like, you have to rush and then they don't ever pull them out again. So that's why, in that regard, I just won't have enough time on this account to do it. So I'm just going to have to do it on the first account, and that's that. Now, I haven't forgotten about the Dark Fae. Thankfully, well, actually, he's not that good. He is a bomb champ, but he is a very good one. But I'm just gonna have to do it for the other account and just suck up my pride and just do it and try to get him. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I'll have enough resources or time. Because remember, time is a resource, and I don't have infinite amounts of it, and I may end up just losing this fusion because of the raw amount of time that this takes. Like, none of my accounts have very efficient Ice Golem teams. Like, they have semi-consistent, but in the end, there can only be one. Because I'll show you. It's because of the requirements, you know? They make the requirements on this rat so insanely high, right? That I can only have time to make one account have a shot at the rat. But I just want to show off these Ice Golem teams. I'm not going to go for it on here because I know that I just don't... not only am I not efficient enough on the Ice Golem team, as you can see, I just want one account to have this rat. I want to have at least one account with the rat on it. Okay? And if any account needs it, it's an account that's going to do something legendary, like fight the Dark Fae or have a good shot at it. So, why not the first account, the leader account, because this account's fully a soldier. Why not the leader account have the rat? You know, I have to make a choice. It's a bitter sacrifice and it's a bitter decision, but that ultimately is going to be my decision, is I'm going to attempt it on the first account. I'm only going to do one of these, and then I'm going to set up the multi-battle for the other one and hope that... See, I got the first one, but my goal is to try to get enough dungeon divers done, right? That I can actually get the second part of it. Because what a lot of people don't understand, right, is that there's a dungeon divers portion of it. Now, the way that this team comp works, right, as you will assume, is Beauregard puts up the resistance, right? and shields. Occult Brawler poisons. This is going on auto, that's why I'm not manualing it. And this is what I usually have to do, because I just have to leave it here and let it run. Because the amount of times you actually have to fight this Ice Golem to make this work is legendary. And I had to run the other thing all night long to even have a chance at this. And then when I saw the amount of times you actually have to do this, I'm like, the only way this is going to work is only one account can get the rat of my two. Only one, the main one, the most important one, is going to be the one that gets the rat. Because I can't auto two of them at the same time. So since I can't do them both at the same time, only one's going to get it. And that's the one that's important, you know? That's my interpretation of this. Because I have to set up Ice Golem 20 runs constantly in order for it to work. As per usual, the two damage dealers here are the Occult Brawler and the Drex. They damage the boss. That's how it works. Like so. See, because we're only at 897. I'd have to go all the way up here. That's not happening. So we just have to not get the rat on here. And just aim for other things and eventually get some crazy stuff. We do have to knock some quests off on here. So, what I'm going to do is, right, I'm going to set this overnight for this thing to try to get me this fusion on here. I know the energy fuel isn't that impressive, but bear with me. I'm still going to attempt this fusion. The question is, can I get a seer? I get another Painkeeper. Of course I do. Well, can we get something ridiculous? That's not the kind of ridiculous I want. Okay, I've had enough. Did we get anything for it? Okay, can we get this fusion is the question. Hospitaller is so rubbish. So are you. I feel like this Ordinator's probably an easier bomb champ to just use. Hurts to say that, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Imagine if we could just summon him there. No. I just don't see this fusion happening. I'm sorry. Like, I tried, but I don't see it happening. Even if I can somehow make enough space. I mean, I guess I can make a Painkeeper team, but for what? Demetha? Is that what the Painkeeper team is? That's what I really need to ask myself that question. Because, yeah, I don't see it. I don't see this fusion happening. But at least I can show you what my Ice Golem team is, and we'll just run this overnight and see what happens. We'll see if we can salvage it. Next time.